Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. In today's video, I will be talking about another H2B topic, and as you can see from the title down below, I will be discussing H2B, like how to get a job transfer in the H2B program and how to, get an extension on the H2B program. But first, I will let you guys know the difference between the two. So with an H2B job transfer, that is when you have entered the US, you're working in the US on an H2B visa for a US employer that participates on the H2B program, and something just goes wrong. And say you're experiencing discrimination or sexual harassment or breach of contract, anything that really goes against the rights of working in the US, then you look into transferring, meaning quitting that job and then working for another US employer that participates on the H2B program. So that is how you do the job transfer. So with the job transfer, you do not have to, don't think that you have to sit and soak up anything that goes against your rights to finish your contract. Like once something is wrong, you can always reach out to the Department of Labor or USCIS and let them know of your situation, and then they will give you the green light on transferring and what have you. So if something is going wrong, you can leave that employer and pursue to work with another employer. So that's that for the transfer portion. Now with the extension, this is how you get the chance of staying in the US for up to 3 years or 6 seasons, because 6 work season equals 3 years. So with the H2B extension, this is when you have already completed whatever season you started with working in the US. So say you come up in the summer season and then around September, October, November, your contract ends, then you would start looking for a job before your contract ends to extend your stay in the US, and you do that for every season that you work. Yeah, so that is extension portion of it, and I will dive down deeper into how to go about with the transfer and the extension and very important stuff that you guys should know. So first, I'm going to speak about job transfers. So I have done a job transfer before. I did it when I came in the US on the H2B program back in 2022. So I already came off J1, I waited out the winter season, and then summer came along. I got an opportunity to come on the H2B program. If you guys follow my previous videos, I did a vlog traveling to South Dakota on my TikTok. I did like a little work, day in my life working in South Dakota or whatever. So I was working for that employer. No, what had happened was before coming in the US to work for that employer, they say, hey, you'll be getting XYZ pay. The contract that we signed says I'll be getting XYZ pay. And the petition that I came up on a serving position, and then they taught me bartending. I was doing bartending, but that wasn't the issue. It was really the base pay, because they didn't explain to me that. All right, let me just give you guys a rundown. So in the interview and on the contract, they said that we'll be getting $15 an hour with tips, right? Now, when a friend of mine and, we came and we were working, or for his first paycheck, we saw that, well, she was getting $5 because they trained me to bartend. So I started bartending and I got $10 an hour and she was getting $5 an hour. So when we asked them like, hey, I think something is wrong, they're like, no, the base is $10 for bartender, $5 for serving, and the tips is what would make it up to $15 an hour. That didn't sit right with us. Like, you should have said that in the interview, and you should have, written that in your contract, like to make it a bit more clearer. Anyways, we weren't really making that much money. in South Dakota. Like, we came across other H2B workers who work in the restaurant industry with, and they're like, the money that we made in like a week, they made that in like a night. But everywhere else is different. But like, come on, you breach your contract. No, and this is what led to, you know, me doing a transfer, because you breach your contract, and then later down in the line, like, USCIS, Department of Labor, contacting us to, you know, investigate and whatever, and we weren't wrong to leave. The company ended up owing us money, and while we already transferred to work for another employer, they had to send us money that they owed us. So yeah, so you can do a job transfer if like the company breached the contract, you're experiencing sexual harassment, discrimination. As I said before, anything that goes against the rights of working in the US, you are eligible to do a H2B transfer. But sometimes guys, and ensure that it is something like serious. Like, if it's you getting too much work or getting overworked, that's not really serious, because you don't want transferring is a risk also, because you can get denied, and I'll go down into that later. But how to do your job transfer? All right, boom, this is how you do it. So you're working for your current employer, you find out something is wrong, you speak to them about it, there is nothing that they can really do about it. You can contact the USCIS, and they'll definitely help you into steps how to do your transfer. But this is what I did. So while I was working for my my employer, I searched for another employer that, or you would have to search for another employer that participates on the H2B program and who is willing to accept your job transfer. So just like how it's your first time ever coming on the program, you do your Google search for companies, you go through the randomization list, you go to COOLWORKS, Indeed, Seasonal Connects, the Department of Labor government website for H2B jobs. That is how you go about finding another employer who is willing to take up your transfer offer. Okay, I also forgot to mention that when you find a job that you're interested in, do not apply directly. You see, like the websites that I give you guys, don't apply directly through the websites, because they would think that you're just applying for a job, not knowing that it's a transfer. And then sometimes you don't get a quick response when you go through the websites. That's why I always recommend, yeah, you apply on the website, but also still send out emails. A lot of these websites that I've linked in previous videos, they have an email address for the HR department that controls H2B. Email them. So when you are formulating your email, in the subject area, state like H2B job transfer, or something that is along the line, to let them know that it is a transfer, so that you don't just apply blindly with you in your head it's a transfer you want, but they don't know, and then suppose they don't want nobody and they just ignore your email. So and ignore your application, on the website. So just state email. It's best to email. I have to preach it over and over again. Email, and in the subject you state that you're looking for a H2B job transfer. So after you have found your employer, you do your interview and whatever that you have to do, you know, you do your interview, your paper, you send in your documents, what have you, then that next employer would have to file a petition for you. So that usually takes about 3 weeks to a month for the petition to get approved or denied. Now, the physical petition paper, it is mailed to the employer, but it takes like a little while for them to get it, because it's not like it's emailed to them or faxed to them, it is mail. And if you know, mailing in the US, sometimes packages reach quick, but paper mail takes a while. But once you check that petition number, the WACC number online, and you see the status says approved, that's the green light for you to go. You can go, or you can leave the job and go work for the new employer for 60 days. Like the day they put in your petition filing, you can work 60 days for the new employer until you get the status of. But I would recommend you just hold out, stick with the the current employer until the status is approved, right? But if you want to jump the gun and go, fine, you can go. Just let your current employer know that, hey, I quit, and leave. No, it's the same thing when you're coming into the US. All expenses should be taken care of by your employer. So the new employer that you're going to, either they book your plane ticket or your bus fare or your train ticket or whatever way to reach to them. If you spend your money to get to them, they should fully reimburse you. Remember that. If you spend your money to get to that new employer, you should be fully reimbursed. If you don't spend your money, that have nothing to you. All the expenses already covered by the new employer. And that is how you do it. That is how you do it. They will request documents like the current petition that you're on, your passport, your visa stamp, your I-94. And your I-94 is a document that shows each and every time you enter the US, leave the US, or whenever you travel within the US. So even if you take a 1 week break from work and go to like California, go enjoy yourself, it shows every plane you go on. That I-94 shows your movements within the US and you leaving the US. They'll ask for that. They'll ask for 3 recent pay slips from your current employer. So basically, any document that they ask from you, you just submit it to them because that is needed to process your petition. And that is how you do your job transfer, guys. Ensure that when you're doing your transfer, it is something serious why you're transferring. Don't be petty and don't be lazy, whining and complaining for unnecessary reasons to get a job transfer, because you can also end up getting denied. And if you get, I'm not really sure how the denial process works. I've been trying to do researches, but I did contact a recruiter and ask like, what's the process if your transfer gets denied? And she told me that you have like 14 calendar days to try and find another employer to petition for you. But I hope everything works out where you don't have to do a transfer. If something bad do happen, you do your transfer and it gets approved. So that's that for the transfer portion. Now for the extension portion, this is the gem. This is like the little glitter to the H2B program for you to stay in the US for 3 years. Like 3 years, money. But extension. So I am currently on my first H2B extension and it will end in a couple days. So with your extension, as I said before, I came to the US in April 2022 and hold on. So sorry about that. I got some technical difficulties, but I'm back. So I came into the US April 2022, but I transferred in June 2022. So I only worked for them for like 2 months. And then I transferred to Iowa to work for the employer that, you know, did my transfer. I completed my full contract with that employer. And I'm now here in Florida working on my first extension, about to leave soon. So how you go about doing an H2B extension is same process again. Remember, I went to South Dakota first, then I transferred to Iowa. So my Iowa employer, my contract would have ended November 30th. So with my petition, because remember, you get a new petition when you do your transfer. So with my new petition, and if you guys don't do a transfer, just ignore this part because I don't want to confuse you guys. Just ignore this part of the video. Let's say the company that brings you to the US, you do your full contract. But I have to give a timeline to let you guys know when to apply for a new job before your contract ends. So let's put this in your perspective. So let's say you came up for the winter season. You came up in October and it's April now, right? And let's say the employer that you're working for, the contract ends April 30, right? Boom, April 30. Now, do not wait until April 30 to search for a new employer to extend your visa. Do not wait until April 30. So for the winter season, you know, winter season normally begins around October, November, and ends around April, May, March for some companies. Some companies it ends in March, but for most it ends around April, May, right? That's for the winter time. So if you want to do a summer extension, do not wait until a week before your contract ends. Start searching for employers the same way. Use the randomization list. You go on the Department of Labor website. Like every season, that website, it shows jobs that are recruiting for the upcoming season. You use COOLWORKS, you use Indeed, you use Susan, all the websites that are listed in my previous videos on how to apply for H2B jobs. You use that same one to locate jobs to do your extension. Now, a keyword is when you are doing your extension, target the jobs that post that you're hiring for in-country extension. Do not apply to the one that says out of country, because that would have applied to you when you were already back in your home country and you're so desperate, because we are all desperate to come to work in the US. I was desperate. Do not apply to the ones that says out of country. Look for the ones that says in country extension. And most of the time they don't differentiate of with whatever status they're hiring for. That's why I'm said it's very, very important. In my previous videos, I said send out emails. So when you're sending out your extension email, in the subject, you can put in country H2B job extension. So once they see that, they're like, oh yes, we're hiring for in country, you move on with the interview and stuff. If not, once they see that it's in country you're looking for and they see the subjects are in country, they're like, oh, unfortunately, we're just hiring for out of country, or you know. But if once you're already working in the US, ensure that you search for jobs that says in country extension, because those are the ones that will give you the light of day, basically give you a response into getting an extension with them. So you use the same websites, you find the jobs, you send out your emails, you apply to the different websites online. Boom, you got a response, you set up your interview, you pass the interview, you sign your job offer, you then submit all the documents that they request, and you wait 3 weeks to a month to know if your extension petition have been approved. And that is that. Now, so that's an example. So if you are currently working in the winter season in country and you'd like to extend for the summer, the best time to start looking for jobs is around January, February. January, February is the best time to start looking for summer extension jobs. So say you're working during the summer season and you want a winter extension. You know that the summer season normally ends around September, October, November. The best time to start looking for winter extension jobs is around July, August. Remember that, July, August for winter extensions, January, February for summer extensions. And even later down, it's never too late, because like these employers, they are so desperate because these Americans, they do not want to work. So once you realize working in the US, like it's a lot of internationals working for these companies. So even if you don't get a response in like January, February for the summer extension, still send out March. It's not too late to send out in March. It's not too late to send out in April. Just ensure that you get a response before your contract ends, because if your contract ends and an employer does not submit a petition request for you, you would have to go back to your home country and wait to reapply to come back in the country. So don't just wait until the last minute, guys. So remember, if you are already working in the summer season and you're looking for a winter extension, the best time is around what? July, August. But it's never too late to even try in September. Just ensure you do it like 2 to 3 months before your contract ends. Once it ends, you gotta go back home. And if you are looking for a summer extension, the best time to start look for jobs is when, guys? Let me hear. January, February, and it's still not too late for March. Just do not let your contract end date reach and you don't already have a company filing for your extension. So that is really it. That is really it. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Pretty easy, pretty simple. The greatest thing is that, like, once you reach the US, everything moves way smoother. Like, once you touch into the US and work and you're in the system, everything moves smoother. It will be a lot difficult for a person trying to come into the US from their home country, but it's harder, but it is possible. Right? Never give up. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And with all these videos that I'm posting, it's from personal experience, and it's with me finding these employers on my own, individually searching, researching day and night. I did not go through an agency. I did not use a recruiter. I did not use a lawyer. I did it all on my own with friends, of course. You know, we group up and send each other links and help each other. So yeah, and I wish you the best of luck. If you're already working here in the US, experiencing something bad, go ahead, put in that transfer, request that transfer. If your season is coming to an end and you'd like to stay in the US, go ahead, put in that extension request and just extend for your 6 seasons until your 3 years is up. Now, once you have completed all 6 seasons and you leave and go back to your home country, you would have to wait 3 months before you can come back in the US on the H2B program. And just to clear up like a misunderstanding that some of you guys may have with the extension part. So when you're doing the extension, obviously your visa will expire. Now, with the extension, it does not grant you a new visa. You won't be renewing your visa. Whatever visa you come in the US on, that is what you will be on for the 2 years, 3 years, however, like if you want to do the full 3 years, that is what you will be on, the expired visa. You will be on the expired visa. You won't be granted a new visa. But what makes your status legal for and to work, to stay and work in the US is with the petition. So the petition is the paper that when you do your extension, you go to the airport to take a plane, they're not going to badger you because you have your document to show that you are legal to work in the US, legal to travel around in the US. So don't worry if your visa expired. That won't criminate you in no way, shape, or form. You will still be in the US working on the expired visa. The petition is what is a proof to show that your status is legal. So I have another video, interesting video to post because I'm out here exploring the H2B program and every day I'm learning something new. So the next video I will be talking about is when I went home to Jamaica for a week and a half and definitely come back to my job in the US. So stay tuned to the channel if you'd like to know how to go home for like a short period of time on your expired H2B visa and what you need to do in order to enter the US to continue working with that same employer that approved you time off to go home. I know a lot of you guys will be excited for that. So stay tuned to the channel. Once more, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. And guys, please remember, like, do your research. There are like, what I really like is I've seen that on TikTok, a lot of persons posting H2B videos. On YouTube, a lot of persons posting H2B videos on YouTube. When it was my first time coming, even though it's my first time, but I'm on extension, but when it was time, like when I was interested in coming to the US and the H2B program, I really find like visual information like these videos that I'm posting and others are posting to help me and clear up things. Like I was in the dark. It was just like a little bit of word of mouth and mostly research. But I'm so happy to see that a lot of persons are posting their experiences about the program and ways how to come on the program. Like I really like that. But remember, do your research, guys. Don't be lazy. Don't expect persons to do the work for you. Any questions you have, reach out to me on Instagram. I will definitely be going live. I already said I will go live on Instagram one of these days. I just have 2 more videos to post to end this series, and I will go live with answering questions. But I'll make a flyer, post it on my Instagram. I'll promote it on Instagram. I'll pay Instagram to promote my flyer. And you guys that are watching, just stick out, look out for the flyer. You know, send it to your friends, share your videos to my friend, to all the H2B groups. And just, when I finish these 2 videos and we'll go on live, we'll chop it up, you ask your questions, I answer to the best of my abilities. As I said before, every day I'm learning something new. I'm not a professional, I'm new to the program like a lot of you guys. So probably there are certain questions I can't answer, but we will figure it out. So I'm gonna stop rambling right now. This is the end of the video. Thank you for tuning in. I hope it was helpful to you guys, and definitely stay tuned for my next video on how to go home and come back while on the H2B program. Bye guys.